involve you and really going to fully distract you and enjoy and entertain you, rather than just being vaguely distracted while you snack all night.
Well, I gotta say, I'm personally guilty of doing that. You know, I see clients sometimes till 10 p.m. and I get home
you're
and
a hard worker.
And then I get home and I'm like, I haven't even eaten dinner yet, and then I want to decompress in front of the TV because that's what health professionals do sometimes. And then,
I understand that, and I think, but what you might want to think about is if there's any way you can tweak that schedule a little bit, you know,
or
maybe
eat dinner while at the office.
Carving out a half an hour. Mindful eating doesn't have to take a tremendous amount of time. Maybe you could just carve a little half an hour in between clients. If there's a cafe around the corner from where you work or whatever, or sitting out on a porch and looking out on the flowers while you munch a light dinner, and and then eat something very light to just cap off any hunger that you have when you go home. But if you can avoid a very long period of time in front of screens and a very late dinner, you are most likely probably doing your health a tremendous favor, which is probably why quite a few physicians, including psychiatrists and also nutritionists, very much like my work and my writing, because it's sort of the juxtaposition of where mental health and physically healthy practices come together. But being a light eater in two ways.
When you say light, it's like LIGHT outside, like
LIGHT/LITE, and it comes. I try in my work and in my writing to use humor whenever possible, and it comes from way back when. I remember hearing a stand-up comedian, a heavy-set fellow, saying, "I'm a light eater. As soon as it gets light, I start to eat." So, I thought about that later, and I realized that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
If we can control it, and if we can do it in a healthy way, and if we can wind down when the evening comes. But emotional overeaters very often will eat a large number of calories, and I was guilty of this. I hate to use that word, but I myself did that for many years too, in the evening, and part of that has to do with unstructured time. So when we can turn unstructured time into pleasurable and productive time, however that might be, whether it's taking up a craft at home, whether it's signing up for an adult education class, whether it's having great books available, whatever we can
music, intimacy, anything.
Exactly. Anything that's meaningful and productive. So we don't have hour after hour of unstructured time that often can become stressful, especially if we're not in general handling stress as effectively as we might.
And we probably don't even understand what healthy stress looks like, handling it appropriately. A lot of us don't. And we need to begin to be able to know the positive coping skills to stress so we don't fall into these bad habits.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about now, which is noticing how we speak to ourselves, speaking to ourselves in a compassionate yet logical way, regular exercise, and making that exercise as much fun as we possibly can. Sports are great, for example, and as many meaningful and productive activities as we can incorporate into our lives. All of this is on the same page in terms of making our lives more pleasurable and it's doable and a much happier way to live.
Right, and everything just seems better when we're on the right path, balanced mind, body, spirit, everything. Everything
Correct.
just seems easier. That we can,
Correct.
If you get a flat tire, it's not the end of the world, even though that's really stressful for most of us, especially me. Or, just a bill was late or something that could really set a lot of us over the edge. But when we're balanced, it's kind of like sweating the small
Definitely
stuff.
so. Because it's not just the flat tire. It might be the way we are speaking to ourselves about the flat tire. It could be we're saying to ourselves, oh, what a dummy I am that I let this happen. Or all or nothing thinking, saying to ourselves, well, just like me, everything I do is wrong, and now my whole day is going to stink. Rather than being compassionate towards ourselves, logical, well, this is a shame, but it's not the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone, and now maybe I'll have some more time. I can study for my exam, or I can finish up some of the research on this project at work, or I can catch up with a friend I haven't phoned in a while. And thank heavens that it's happening here in a parking lot and not right on the east coast of Florida. We have I-95. You probably have a major thoroughfare there.
Yeah.
In other words, finding the silver lining of the experience. So
there's always a positive way to look at a negative situation.
Correct. And when we tune in to the way we really are there for ourselves or not, and make an effort to be there for ourselves in a friendlier way, it's a wonderful lifelong habit.
It is, to be our own best friend rather than our worst critic.
Correct.
It's time
for a lot of the power away from excessive food
and
from hyper palatable snacks and the bliss factor, which we haven't totally gotten into, but it's the way corporations design foods to override our satiety. So that's something that we can that I've written about and we can learn about, and think ice cream, think Snickers bars, whatever, foods that are high in sugar and salt and fat that leave a little taste on our tongue and make it hard to stop. When we're in control in the ways we've been speaking about today, we are then able to take charge and eat very small quantities of those hyperpalatable foods and learn how to stop at the point of satisfaction.
The point of satisfaction probably varies for a lot of people too, but to find a stopping point where we know that we've had a nourished meal and be able to stop eating and give ourselves time to snack or something in between.
Well, by satisfaction, I mean physical satisfaction. And it is possible to tune into whether or not the cues that our body is giving us and telling us that we have had just enough. And the rule of thumb I very often use with science is just enough plus a little tad. And when we learn to tune in physiologically to that and to stop eating for unproductive, purely emotional reasons, wow, that can change our lives in a wonderful way.
Yeah, it sure can. And it's a lot of times that we are not aware of when that point is, but to tune in and chew our food and drink a lot of water while we're eating and wait for that to happen. Because a lot of times I know that when I see my kids eat and they eat too fast, it's like, slow down. They don't realize how full they're going to get until later because they're eating too fast. And then they're uncomfortably full the rest of the day, not realizing it.
Well, the message of slow down might, to some people, come across as a bit of a drag. What might be helpful to do is say, let's really taste what we're having. What do we notice? What are we seeing? Do we like the color of this food? Do we like the texture? let's have a glass of water. You tell me what you're noticing about this food. What's special about it? If we encourage them to really, and you can make it even the little contest. Who notices something pretty about this food? Who notices something that smells especially good? If you have a couple of kids, you can make it into a little contest with them in terms of what they notice about what they're eating. Because I've noticed that some practitioners will say things like, you must eat slowly, you must count the number of bites. I can't think of anything more boring than counting 20 or 30 or 40 bites when we eat. To me, that's stress producing in and of itself. But to tune in and really be there in the moment and to do it ourselves as a role model to our kids. Wow, that is powerful stuff.
And also that negative self-talk is very powerful too. When we're back to that flat tire and we're talking bad about ourselves, trying to look for the silver lining there. But a lot of us don't realize when we're sitting there going, "Oh, I'm such a dummy" or whatever. We're saying it under our breath, and our kids can hear us. And then their self-talk tends to look the same. I get a lot of clients, and where their children are saying the same thing.
As I do in my work, and as I've written in Let Go of Emotional Overeating and Love Your Food, before my daughter was born, one of the things I resolved was I said, I will never look into a mirror and say anything that indicates I don't like what I see.
Which is so powerful. Hold that thought, Arlene. I'm late for my second break, but I want to get into the story when we get back. Hold on a second.
Okay.
We'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Just stay tuned, please.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Financial independence is not a dream. It is a decision. Overcoming your financial challenges is like building a house. You must build from the ground up. You must learn how to make more money, save more money, grow your money, and protect your money. Forever Forward Financial specializes in teaching you these 4 basic money skills. Call us today at 727-422-7761 to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation meeting to discuss your needs and concerns.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American Odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, and welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. My name's Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And we're just the final minutes of wrapping up with the show. We're talking about emotional overeating and how important it is for our mental health to eat responsibly. And not only that, but to also know what we're doing if we're covering up our emotions or trauma or anything with anything, even if it's food, and from labeling ourselves, which I believe labels are for food, not people. So anyway, I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, the published author of Let Go of Emotional Overeating and Love for Your Food. And that's a 5-point plan for success. And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity Arlene Englander.